Dear friends, in this video I am going to explain about services, how to create a Windows service. Already we have seen another video about the Windows service. So why I am going to create another video? Because in this video I am going to explain to create Windows service by using another one class. Already we have seen in another video we can use System.Timers.Timer. So that was the another namespace for the timer class. In this one we are going to use timer namespace. We are going to use threading namespace. So that is the difference, and there are some differences. That is why I am going to create this one video. So let me explain what are the differences. So in this System.Threading namespace we have the timer class. So earlier we have seen System dot timers dot timer class. If you have not watched my earlier video, then you can watch that one. So in this video, this class has certain features like callback method, state object, due time and timer interval. I explain these four things because once we are going to use this timer class, so we are using the constructor of this timer, and this parameter of the constructor of this timer class will use these four parameters. The first parameter would be timer callback method, second will be state object, third will be due time, and fourth will be timer interval. If you look here the graphic, what is shown here? Suppose you create a service. Service means a method that will be run. So that method, it will take some time to run. So we are assuming that we are running the method in equal interval. We are running this method in equal interval. So this much time it is taking to run the callback method. This much time again equal interval it is taking. This much time. So equal interval is taken by the callback method. So the four parameters we are providing to the timer class. One is about the method name, second is the interval, and maybe once we are starting the service very first time, we may left some time. Then and thereafter method will repeatedly, periodically it will run. So that is the due time. That is the meaning of initialization time, when the timer will be created. And then it will start working, executing the method. That is the conceptual idea. Then I will work on the project. So everything is written here. You can pause the video here and you can even read it here. Everything I have written here. Okay. So let us start. You already know, once we are going to create a service, we should always start the Visual Studio in the admin mode. Because to install the service, not to create the service, but to install the service, we need admin privilege. So I am opening my Visual Studio in the admin mode. Okay. I will create a very simple service and I will use the .NET framework, because even using the .NET Core we can create the service, but there are some slight changes because as per the framework changes are obvious. So I am going to use Windows Service .NET framework. If it is not coming here in the recent, you can search it inside here, service, you will get it. Then and thereafter I click the next. What the default name is I am just putting here, and the YouTube video folder that is at the desktop, I am creating this service. And I am not using many projects in the solution, so I am putting here check so that only one single project will be in this solution. Okay, I assume like that. My service will be created, and as per the service template, some files will be generated inside the project. So if you look in the Solution Explorer, you get here some files and folders. So there are two important files. One is the program class file. In most of the application, we get a program class file. That is the entry point of the application that contains the main method, and that method is executed when the application starts. So look here, here is the service base. This is another one class, and this provides or this contains all the behavior of the service. And any class that is going to inherit this service base class will behave like a service. So here is automatically a service one name class is created. If you look the code, here you find that service one class is inheriting service base. So actually if you look, if you click F12, then you can look what are the different methods, properties and other things of the service base class. Okay. So you look here. If I close this one, it is taking so much space. I press Ctrl MO, it will just collapse all the methods and properties. It will not show the detail of the method. So you look here, there are so many properties and so many methods. And if you look at the service one class, it is overriding two methods, on start and on pause. These methods are coming from the service base and it is just overriding. It has not overridden. It has not overridden. As a developer, we have to override it. Okay. So if you look here in the service base, there are so many methods: on start, on stop, on pause, on continue, and dispose, and so many other. Okay. So I close this one. You can look it and understand. So basically, what we do once we are creating the service, we are providing. Here is the constructor that is initializing the service, and we don't have to go in the detail of the initialize component because it is internally doing all these things. The name of the service you can put another one, but I am everything putting default so that it will be easy to understand for the beginner. So on start, what we'll do, we'll write here a method that will be called when the service will start running. So, but on the basis of timer, we are going to invoke. So timer will, once we are talking about the timer, this class service one, I am going to create a timer class. System dot, I already told threading I am going to take and timer I am going to take, not time out. So I am going to create an instance of the timer. So I have not created, I have just declared this variable and I am just going to create the system dot threading dot timer, not timeout, because it contains. So here we have to provide the parameter of this constructor timer. So first parameter is timer callback. Basically it is a delegate. If you look here, it is a delegate. You can go in the definition. There are some other overloaded. So overloaded parameters. I mean the constructor is going to take different parameters. So this is timer callback. Timer callback belongs to System.Threading. This timer callback belongs to this namespace, same namespace. So I am going to create a object of timer callback. Okay. System, actually in the namespace System.Threading already not used. Okay, so I don't have to write in so much. Okay, so this delegate will take a method. This will take a, we know every delegate is going to take a method. So I name it, any name you can put, callback method 1, I write it, because this is a very simple example. So first parameter I have provided. Second parameter, if you look the graphic, then you know what are the parameters. Second is a state object. A state object provides additional information required for the timer operation. I am not going to provide some additional information. I put it null because it is an object. Third parameter is due time. Due time is all about the some time that I am going to give some gap when the timer will be created, initialized, and thereafter it will going to run the method again and again. So it is the due time. So due time is the time of delay when after the timer is created. So after this delay, our method, I mean the callback method. Suppose I have written the callback method once, so that method will be called. So let us suppose I am putting here 2000. 2000 means 2 minutes, 2 seconds, because in 1000 millisecond is 1 second. So 2000 means 2 seconds. And then and thereafter I am putting after every 5 seconds my method will be called after every 5 seconds, mind it. So all the 4 parameters I put here this. But why I am coming? Because I have not defined the method. So I put here control and dot, control and period. Then I have to generate a method. And here I have to put the logic, what this method will do, callback. So basically what I want to do, I want to create a very simple method. This method will do nothing. It will just print a hello world or some text it will print after some interval of time. Every time this method will be called. So in a text file that will be written. So what I want to do, I want to create a kind of log, I can say. So this log is going to write, suppose C# is easy to learn. Suppose I want to write. Okay, so this will be printed, and but this method is not, so I control dot, so I will generate this method. Okay, so here is the V is not good message, so this message will be, and I write here. So what is my objective? I want to create a file at the desktop. Suppose I want to create a file at the desktop here in the folder, timer folder, and in this timer folder I want to create the timer. So what I will do, suppose I want to create a file, so file path will be this one, and inside this I want to create a file timer.txt. Suppose this is my file path. So at the desktop I want to generate a file. To generate a file we use stream. We know stream. So how I am going to stream writer, because I want to simply write. So stream writer, I am going to create an instance, and this stream writer is going to take 2 parameters. For first parameter is the path of the file, already I have provided at the desktop. Second parameter is append. Append means whether you want to override the old data or whether you want to append the data. So I want to append the data, so I put it true. My task is done. Stream writer is created. Now stream writer has the method to write or write line. So I write what I want to write, this message. Okay, I want to log, so I also put here some log date. So it will be easy to understand at what time it was logged. Date time dot now dot to string, we know this one. I put here also a space sum. Okay, so my task is done. Note it what I have done. Anyway, it was not an issue. So I have created timer, I have declared a timer object, and I have initialized that timer on start. When the service will start, this timer object will be created, and this once this timer will be initialized, then it will call callback method. What the callback method is, that will be called. I am not using the state value, so this will call this write log method, and write log method will be what will happen, this data will be passed to this write log method, and inside this file what will happen, stream writer will write this message. C# is easy to learn, and also the log rate. So this is the very simple program that I have created. And one thing more we can do, once we are starting the program, we can write log also like this: service started, something like this, service started. And once we are stopping the service, we put like this: service stopped. And one thing more, once we are stopping the service, then what we have to do, suppose our method is running, I mean callback method is running, and immediately we are going to close it. So it may have some repercussion on the method, means some data may be corrupted, maybe something. So what is the way? We have timer class also provides change method, timer dot change. This method we are going to use. It takes due time. I explain it through the graphic. Just like once your service starts, it takes some time. That is called delayed time or due time, and then after your method execute, and it takes some time. That is called interval. Likewise, when we are going to stop the service, it will take some delay time. Then it will start completing the task that is remaining, and then and thereafter the service will be stopped. But we cannot guess how much time should be provided as the delay time or the due time, and I don't know how much time it will take to complete the last method. I mean, so both are unknown. So for that purpose, we use System.Threading.Timeout. Already we have this timeout is providing a value, constant value that should be provided. Infinite if you provide, so what will happen? We are not sure how much time it will take to delay and how much time it will take to as an interval to complete the task. So we are providing both infinite. So, and another thing also we can do, we can also dispose. Suppose our timer is going to expose, so we can also put here dispose. So this is the complete code, and if you go through unnecessary part I remove. So just a service process and everything. So everything is done. If you go through what we have done, I recap it again. Because once our service is starting, then what is happening? We are creating a timer object. This timer object is containing callback method, delegate. Once this delegate is initialized, then this method will be called. And already we have provided the timer, the due time and the interval. So as per that, our method will be called after every 5 seconds, and the very first time when the method will be called, 2 seconds will be delayed for the first time. And now it is done. Now we build the project. If there is no issue, then it is succeeded. Now how we install the service? Already we know, in the previous video I have explained. Just go to the path of the exe and use the command line in the Visual Studio, and mind it, we have to open it in the admin mode. This is very crucial, otherwise you will not be able to install the service. And one thing is missing. What is missing? I have not created the installer. We right click service in the design mode and add installer. This is required. And in the properties, we set the service property. I name it logger, first logger. I write like this, or first service. Also in the description, lengthy text you can put here. I am not putting a service name. I am putting here first logger, and in this one, service process, just we have to say whether we are going to use username, password, or Windows authentication. For Windows authentication, we are using local system, because to run a service we need some privilege. Now I save it and rebuild the project. and copy the path of the exe, and here I will use install util. This is the tool for installation -i, and in quotation I put the path what I have copied and install. So installation is complete, there is no issue, and we go in the service and we click it. So what we will find, first logger I have named it, I click F. First logger is installed, but it is not running. To run it, I will have to right click and start, or from here I can also start. So I start it. What will happen? At the desktop, a file will be created here, and then and thereafter. So I do like that. I start it. So what will happen at the desktop, inside the timer folder, a file will be created, timer, and in that one log will be generated. What kind of log will be generated? As per the service, my service is going to create a log after every 5 seconds. First time it will take 2 seconds, means to initialize, but the log will be generated after every 5 seconds. So go and see, check it out. So what we find? Look here, 17, 22, 27, it means after every 5 seconds log is generated. So that is the basic idea of using the System.Threading.Timer class. Earlier we had learnt about System.Timers.Timer. That was in my previous video. You can go and watch that one video also, because in that one we have used another one approach, and in this one I am using System.Threading.Timer, and it is taking 4 parameters. That you have to keep in mind. I hope you understood everything. So if you understood and liked the video, then please subscribe my channel and also like this video. Thank you for watching this video.